All right, have and have not fans, this is another Veronica theme video. Now, just to give you a heads up, the subject of this video is going to be covering my thoughts on why Veronica Harrington, well, for a lack of a better term, just went straight bat crazy, or batshit crazy, however you want to say it. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is not only because a lot of people ask me my thoughts on Veronica as a character. She's gotten a bit stale. This is some people's feedback now, not everybody, but some people have been tweeting me and have been, commenting on my videos about, I feel like Veronica in the car wreck, she should die because we've gotten nothing new from her. She's just evil, just a vindictive, as David said, simple bitch, and is getting kind of old. She hasn't received a comeuppance. Yes, there have been times where Veronica has been on the edge of, oh man, Jeffrey stabbed her. Catherine came after her with a knife. She got in the car wreck with Melissa, but that's not enough for some fans. Now, the reason I'm doing this video, believe it or not, in 26, and again, this is for my channel was actually pretty big. I think at the time I might have had barely 500 subscribers. I did a video in July of 2016 called "Why Has Veronica Changed?" in terms of why has Veronica become this, well, crazy person. She was this calm, cool, collected, controlling person back during season 1. You can tell she still had a heart. She was, very bougie, looked down on people like Hannah who were, have-nots. Wasn't really a friend to Catherine. You can just tell that she was linked to Catherine for social appearances and social status. But at the same time, you can tell she was a loving wife, a demanding mother, but she still cared about her family. Next thing you know, she's, well, blackmailing her son with jail and not trusting her husband as much as she used to, assuming he's trying to sleep with somebody, which it turned out to be true that Maggie had eyes for David, not that the two were sleeping together, not just yet. And Angela Robinson made this post on Facebook last year in 2016. And I'm going to put it on the screen here so you can look it over. Now, the reason I'm doing this video again is because the original video only had about 4,000 views. Because remember, this was last July before my channel even hit like 1,000 subscribers. So you would really have to dig in my video archive to find it. Honestly, this isn't just me self-promoting myself on my own channel, which honestly isn't a bad thing. But if you haven't done so already, I have taken time to kind of organize the channel better in terms of playlist, in terms of, different themes like episode summaries, what if theories on the show, Tyler Perry movie reviews and whatnot, just so it's not so congested. Because honestly, there's almost 300 videos on this channel. If you wanted to, you can literally binge watch a bunch of these videos to keep your mind pumped up for the haves and the have-nots before it comes back in January. Just putting that out there. But the reason I'm doing this video is because it's been over a year and I feel like this subject is still fresh. Now, this was around the time, if I'm not mistaken, that Veronica made the baby room in her house. I believe that she had Melissa set up there, and I believe she was like, "What are you upset for, son? Be happy. It's a happy time. Happy." It was around the time that she was going to throw the engagement party for Melissa and Jeffrey. Now, this post on Facebook from Angela, it really spoke a lot about Veronica's character. Now, I'm going to read what it has on the screen here about. It says, "About last night, you guys send the best tweet. Thanks. Choose one of the following. The behavior of Ice Queen Veronica has escalated because she is A, Cray Cray, B, drug and alcohol addicted, C, just evil for no other reason, D, completely unable to deal with losing control of others, or E, all the above." And she goes even further to say, "I know it will be easy to select E, all the above, obviously, but give us some thought first. People are complex and pain affects everyone differently. Add in substance abuse and you may get cray cray." Now, when I originally did this video last year, I said that the answer was A, B, and D, just because I felt like being evil for no other reason was bad writing and it really didn't say much about Veronica as a character. Again, my original answer was Cray Cray, drug and alcohol addicted, and completely unable to deal with losing control of others. So if you wanted to kind of put it together, I would say that Veronica being a controlling person means is somebody who couldn't handle her son being a homosexual. Not that Veronica, I believe even Veronica told David, look, I don't have a problem with homosexual or gay people. I just don't want my son to be one because he's black as it is. That's a fight in America to begin with. Throw on gay and you're going to make your life even harder than it already is. And then David made a point about there are people out there, you know, homosexuals who kill themselves because they can't handle it. They have nobody to talk to. Their family neglects them and they end up dead. And then Veronica's like, that wouldn't happen to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's too strong for that. And that's why I like Veronica in season 1 and season 2, because even in season 2, where she's becoming more of this crazy controlling person, you could still see the good in her, that she still had faith in her child. And then eventually the writing just got a bit stale for her. It was fun seeing Veronica take control of a situation. It was awesome seeing her flip the switch between being this crazy woman to being this strong, unbreakable force in a courtroom. Like, you know, when it's time for her to be a lawyer, an attorney, she will knock everybody else out. That is her ground. She knows exactly what she's doing. She can take control of the situation. But somewhere along the way, and again, let me just kind of hop back to what I was saying before, she is a person who is very controlling. So D makes sense. Being completely unable to deal with losing control of others makes sense. Her son being a homosexual, not living the life that she wants for him. Her husband sleeping with somebody that she suspected he was sleeping with. Keep in mind, remember when she saw those two walk out the hotel room in season 2, and then of course Jeffrey and Landon came out of their bedroom. Veronica literally just assumed the worst. And then when David actually did sleep with Maggie, and again, I'm not defending, you know, adultery, but given the fact that he had been pushed into such a corner, if I'm not mistaken, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, Veronica had been sleeping around with Benny because she thought that Maggie and David slept together. Yes, she did find David walking out of her hotel room, but they didn't sleep together. They were in the bed. He just couldn't do it. They just talked the entire night. So given the circumstances, David was pushed to the corner where he's like, you know what, bump it, I want to have sex with you. So in that case, Veronica had lost control of her marriage, had lost control of her son. It was going through these extreme measures to keep everybody in line. So I'd say that D being unable to deal with the control of others was one step of her going into crazy town. And then the next step, as Veronica even said, well, Angela even said, people are complex and pain affects everyone differently. Add in substance abuse and you may get cray cray. Hence why I say that B is also a legitimate reason, drug and alcohol addicted. Remember that Veronica was in rehab because, if I'm not mistaken, at one point she had a extreme back pain due to an injury, and she got addicted to the pain medication and at the same time became an alcoholic. Then she was placed into rehab, noticed some things that were wrong with the process when she was in there, hence why she eventually came out of rehab and started her own clinic, her rehabilitation center. And at the time, I believe David said he hadn't drank any alcohol in a long time in order to support his wife not being able to drink at all. And the only time he had to drink, well, the first time he had to drink was at the end of season, I believe, the season finale of season 2, where he saw Maggie playing piano at the hotel. Now, we even see Veronica drinking, I think, in the mid-season finale. Was it the mid-season finale of season 3 where she burnt the house down? I believe it was. And during that time, she was sitting on the couch, you know, smoking, drinking, her hair was down, and Jeffrey came over and told her off. At that point, you know, Veronica was literally, you know, smoking and drinking when she shouldn't. So I believe that led to the cray cray, being the fact that, again, Angela Robertson just said it perfectly. People are complex. Pain affects everyone differently. Throw in substance abuse and you might make it cray cray. So at the time, I agree that D, A, and B were legitimate reasons put together of why Veronica literally, I guess you could say, her personality escalated. Her being overly controlling, her being crazy, and just literally tearing everything down around her when she believes she's trying to keep everything from falling apart. But as time went on, I feel that she had just been written to be evil just for being evil, which is definitely a bad thing. I feel that Angela Robinson's character, again, Angela Robinson nails this role. Veronica is a great character in terms of like the acting that goes into it. But in terms of what is being written for her, I feel it could be better in the sense that we need to see more dimension. Like, look, we get the fact that she's a badass in the courtroom. She has a contingency plan for everything. But at some point, we really need more substance, not just show. So as time went on, remember, about a year ago, it was A, B, and D. But now I feel like it's more C in terms of just being evil for no other reason for being just being evil. Now, in my original video, I even pointed out, a lot of people were like, where did she get the drugs from, huh, Jeremy? She's not on drugs. Think back to the scene in the Serenity Hotel bar where Veronica threw a fit and started like tearing the place apart, throwing chairs, breaking glasses behind the bar. And David just stood there. Remember, the trigger word was simple bitch. And that set her off. She slapped him in the face and then she just went on a rampage. And at the time, David was just like, look, you've been controlling in the past. You've done some things, but to get Quincy out of jail, to beat up our son, to blackmail our son with the black sedan, throwing him in jail and this and that. You've never went to this extreme. Like, have you elevated to crack, basically making a reference to the fact that she was addicted to pain medication in the past. And then she's like, how dare you accuse me of doing such a thing? And then the reason I think that at the time Veronica was on some kind of pills or substance was the fact that she was going off, but David just stood there stone cold, stone faced, didn't say anything, didn't move. The reason I feel like that's an important moment in the show in terms of Veronica's character is he's acting like he's seen this before. And I believe that. I believe that during the time where Veronica, and again, this is pre-have and have not here, I believe during the time where she was abusing, her pain medication, she was an alcoholic, I feel like she's thrown major fits, maybe not to the exact level of her tearing a bar apart, but probably to the point where David has seen Veronica lashing out due to the medication she was on. So that's why I feel like David was correct in the fact that Veronica was on something, maybe not crack or weed or anything. I don't think that's the case, but she's definitely taking something that she shouldn't. Now, the other question is, where did she get these medications or pills? I feel like we actually got a nod and a hint to when this happened. Remember after Amanda died and, Catherine and Veronica were talking in Catherine's room, and Catherine told Veronica, look, I tried to control Amanda. Like, I remember one time when she was younger, she got in a horseback riding accident, and she broke her knee or ankle or something like that. And she called in like the best doctors to come in, and because I wanted to make sure everything was healed properly, like the bone was put back in place, there was nothing wrong. And then I learned controlling your child will crush them and break them. Hence why my daughter is no longer alive. Veronica, Jeffrey is gay. Stop acting like he's not. You're only going to break him. And then Veronica was just like, no, he's not gay. Basically, she was like being delusional about it. Then Veronica left, made a phone call in the front yard, I believe, to a doctor. She's like, hello, doctor. My friend is delusional. Can I get some pills over here right away? The thing is, we never saw the delivery of those meds. In my mind, and again, this is headcanon, if you will, my thoughts on it, I feel like Veronica ordered the pills and she took them herself. Why? Why would she need those medications to be delusional? Well, because, these pills to help somebody who's having delusional thinking patterns. I think if there was ever a time that Veronica snapped and needed to take those kind of pills, those kind of pills, or began to think differently, that's when Jeffrey came out at the ending of season 1. I feel like that was the trigger to set her on the path that she's on now. Just like Amanda's trigger was being raped by Professor Cannon, and that's why she stopped. Well, she told Jeffrey she was taking her meds, but we eventually saw that she was slowly getting into this psychotic personality, which led to her demise. I feel like the trigger for Veronica was Jeffrey coming out. it was Maggie Day hitting on David, her suspicions, and then finding them coming out of the hotel together, then finding David coming out of Maggie's room, then seeing her son with Landon, seeing Landon and, well, Jeffrey kiss Landon. Basically, being unable to deal with losing the control of others was what made her snap. Remember, Veronica wants this Harrington family dynasty. She wants to be the it family of Savannah, Georgia. So to have a son who's gay, to have a husband who's being unfaithful, that is enough to make her snap. How does she cope? She falls back. I believe it's called a relapse is the medical term. She goes back to taking drugs and alcohol to deal and to cope. By doing so, this is creating a very, very, very delusional state of being where Veronica thinks, oh, my son's not gay. He's not gay. You know what's funny? The fact that Jeffrey is gay in front of her face, but she doesn't think he's gay. And yet she kept accusing David of sleeping with Maggie when they weren't. I found that kind of funny. But what I'm saying here is the fact that the trigger was probably Jeffrey coming out of the closet. That's when we saw a major change in Veronica's character. That's just my thoughts. The medication, we got a hint of it when she called that doctor to give Catherine the medication pills, but we never saw Catherine get those pills. I'm just, again, I am assuming here, but I feel like the evidence is there that Veronica got those pills from that doctor and then took them for herself, because everything around her, if anything, she is the most delusional character on the show. I'm just going to be honest here. So I feel like those pills were definitely a sign to the audience that Veronica is on something. She's addicted. But the problem is when she just kept on this road of tyranny and being evil, stalkerish. The sad part is Veronica is like 98% of the time right about her hunches, because in season 1, remember when David delivered the red sports car and the $100,000 to Candace, and Veronica had David followed because he was acting kind of strange. She thought that he was having an affair with Candace. It turns out that wasn't the case, but he was hiding the truth from Veronica about the whole, oh, okay, Jim's having an affair, and then you were the one that set Benny in jail with the drugs in the car. And remember, at the time, Veronica was the attorney helping out Benny and Hannah to clear his name. And then when Veronica figured things out, that's when her trust in David started to falter. So it makes sense why she wouldn't be fully trusting of him towards the end of the season in season 2, but things just got to an extreme level. So honestly, that's how I feel Veronica began to slip in terms of her sanity and why she's literally on the Cray Cray train. But I feel like she's went from crazy to all out, you know, ridiculously evil, like, you know, pretending to be, you know, abused in the elevator, and that scene was hilarious. And then, like, you know, setting up the camera and the vase for Erica's room. And let's just put it this way. Regardless of how crazy she is, I will admit I am intrigued to see her and Candace team, and I believe even Erica, to team up on David, whatever the plan is. So to have Candace, who's like a Veronica in training, so to speak, and then have somebody on Veronica's level and throw in the crazy, I am very afraid of what will come from that alliance. So with that being said, this was my, I guess you could say, the history of Veronica's sanity. Do you think that the accident, the car wreck she's in, if she survives, which I think she will, do you think she'll have amnesia from that? Will she be in a coma? Will she change for the better given the fact that she almost died? Or what if the grandchild and Melissa are both dead and she snaps even further and then goes through even more incredible and ridiculous feats to get her family back in line? Remember that she had a murderer released from jail to take care of Candace, then had this person go after her son to keep him in line. And if I'm not mistaken, she said, if you ever raise a hand to me again, referencing the knife to her breast implant, she said that Quincy will seem nice in comparison to the next person that she would have to come visit Jeffrey. So there is no, and again, she tried to burn David in the house, and the list goes on, people. I honestly don't know what to expect from Veronica next season. So with that being said, I want to bring this video to a close. Do you agree with me in fact that, you know, Veronica's transition from controlling mother, loving wife, but firm, to eventual crazy person Was that a result of Jeffrey coming out of the closet? If she's addicted to anything, do you think it's those pills that she tried to get over for Catherine for delusions and took that herself? Or do you think she's just crazy and evil just to be crazy and evil? So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you in the next video.